Hello, my name is Marta Kazmi, and today I will present you my study on trends and challenges of online learning in the early years education sector during the pandemic lockdown. Here we go. In March 2020, lockdown happened across the world. Many governments closed universities, schools, and also early learning centers. The closure was either partial or full. Some countries closed their schools for only a few weeks. In some countries, the closure continues up till today, as per some sources. This created abrupt change in the whole education system, and the teachers were forced to take their education and teaching online. Some teachers were prepared more than others. They faced different challenges in different countries. However, the trends that emerged from this situation were very much alike in many countries, and this is what we are going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the experiences of educators, about the challenges and the technologies that they use for online learning. In early years, we have different curricula around the world. However, the building block of all early years curricula is play-based learning. It caters for children between 0 to 6 years. The classrooms are adjusted to provide education and stimulation for all areas of development. The early years educators, they need to make sure that children have the social and emotional growth, that they develop their communication skills, their cognitive skills. There's been a debate for many, many years whether digital technology should or should not be included in early years education and classrooms, and it will continue. This debate will continue for many years to follow. However, because of the lockdown and because of the fact that the education was taken online, even in early years classrooms, we will now have very valuable data that can be researched to see, was the online learning valuable? Was the use of digital technology valuable? What was harmful? What was good? What was not good? What we learned from it? In my study, the countries researched in the articles were US and China, which were mentioned in 2 articles each, and then UK, Indonesia, Latin America, and Romania. Like I said, the teachers were caught off guard and put in front of the computer, many of them without proper training. When one of the articles researched teachers, these were American teachers that were asked this question, 92.4% mentioned that they had no prior experience in online learning. Now we're talking about the early years teachers here. Many teachers across all the countries and all the articles research said that they lacked adequate skills to do online training, whether it was their technological skills or even psychological skills of teaching children of such a young age online. Many teachers faced poor or no internet connection, either for the families or for the educators themselves. Many teachers didn't have access to their teaching material that they have at school, and what they had at home was very limited. Another challenge that teachers really had difficulty coping with was the caregivers' side, where parents either had lack of time, they put grandparents in charge, nannies in charge, and very often the caregivers lacked academic skills to help the child to learn online. Some of them were illiterate, some of them didn't know how to open folders on the computer, which made a huge challenge for the teachers. Now, on the other hand, to bring on teaching online for such a young children, the teachers had to keep in mind that at this age, child's attention span is very short, and they had to adjust teaching to that as well. These are the digital platforms that teachers and educators used in early years throughout the whole world, and this is where the trends emerged. I believe that because of this change being so abrupt and there was not really enough time to prepare, the teachers around the world went for the online applications that were free, like Zoom, YouTube, Facebook, WhatsApp, as well as they had some experience in using that, maybe not in a teaching background, but they had experience in using that before. And as well, it was the same for the parents, because it is very difficult to integrate an app for parents to use. So this just prevented a lot of challenges for the teachers. So and you know, prior to pandemic lockdown, there were really not many applications that were catered for early years online learning, just due to the fact that the online learning was based on play-based learning. It was very difficult to bring such things online. There were applications to talk about phonics, to talk about maths, but not really to have the overall online teaching experience there. Now, I have summarized the ways of learning in early years before and during the pandemic lockdown for us to better understand what was happening. So before lockdown, most of the education was done in the classroom. The interaction was human. Some teachers were using things like rotary phones or video recorders for children to use on the side of their learning. In some countries, the children were using iPads or computers in the classroom, and all these technology was put in the class just to provide an extra element and into the learning experience. Now, during the pandemic, during the online learning, the portals such as Zoom and Microsoft Teams were used for live online interaction, and that provided the real-time communication access between the education and the students. Other apps and technologies such as YouTube apps, Google Classroom, these were mainly used for the digital content, and they provided platforms that enabled families to work with the digital resources. In some countries where online access was an issue, and there was either no online access or very limited online access, the teachers actually created learning packs and distributed that for the children. And these included non-digital resources such as crayons, storybooks, different toys for children to learn with. Okay. What is the future of online learning in early years? So I feel that more research is coming. These online programs could be put together for situation such as lockdown, for the teachers, schools, and parents to be prepared. And they don't have to be used just during a pandemic. They could be used when there is a bad weather, when there is a unstable political situation, there are endless possibilities, and very possibly this online learning could be used alongside classroom learning in the future. Thank you very much for your interest and attention. Goodbye.